Let's move on to the AFC North. The favorite is the Baltimore Ravens, minus 155, followed by the Bengals at plus 250, Steelers at plus 500, and then the Cleveland Browns, plus 3,300 to win the AFC North. Who are you going with as the AFC North champions this year?
Yeah, another chalky pick, going with the Baltimore Ravens. I do at least think this one's a lot closer than the AFC East, but I still think the Ravens are the best team in this division and should win it.
Last year at this time, we put the North with the other North as probably the two best divisions in football. The Browns disappointed.
Right.
But if we go back a year, the Browns were a playoff team in 23. They were very good up and down their roster. They, had the issue of Deshaun Watson played quarterback last year.
Yeah.
Tough to anticipate him being that bad again. But the Steelers were very good early on, competitive throughout the year. The Bengals just missed the playoffs.
Yep.
Them and the Steelers right on the battling for that last playoff spot. And then
the Bengals,
so they had two playoff teams and almost three last year. It is a deeper division, but the Ravens feel like they're a step above these other teams.
And the Bengals just got the Trey Hendrickson thing done finally before the start of the season. So, they've got their best defensive player back in the building. They're at least theoretically heading into the season on something of a high. I do think they might start well as well for the first time in years. They have changed their approach this preseason. They got the starters on offense, game action, and they look crisp. Burrow to Chase, T. Higgins in there. That offense looks like it might be able to hit the ground running in a way that it didn't a year ago. And, even if the defense isn't much better, if they just got that version of the offense all the way through the season, they are in contention for the playoffs. But Baltimore should have a very good offense themselves, and they actually have a really good defense as well. So I just think there's too much wrong with the Bengals team for you to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're going to win the division. Similarly with Pittsburgh, like their defense might be amazing, but defense is inherently volatile in today's NFL. It's tough to bank on that, and we just have no idea what this Rodgers experiment is going to be.
So everything you just described is what makes the AFC North so fascinating and competitive, though, is the Bengals have one of the best offenses. The Steelers could have one of the best defenses. The Ravens are just one of the best for the third, fourth, fifth straight year. Best all-around teams in the NFL. Few weaknesses, solid on both lines of scrimmage, two-time MVP Lamar Jackson. He could have been three-time MVP Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
Derrick Henry in the backfield. Kyle Hamilton, freshly minted as the highest-paid safety in NFL history as we record here. So days ago, got that nice new contract. So they have star power. They have depth. So the Ravens are the best all-around team, but the Bengals, with Burrow, Chase, and Higgins back and intact, and the Steelers with that defense that we've talked about, I mean, that front seven, the pass rush, when they're all out there, is as good as it gets. And then the Aaron Rodgers factor is still a wild card, right? I mean, I don't think he's lost enough physically that he's going to be terrible. He's got to play better than he played last year. But the Steelers, if they could play their ball control, Rodgers doesn't turn it over a lot, and they should have a really good defense, right? So that gives the Steelers a chance to be very competitive week in, week out. So I still think it's one of the better divisions. The Browns are rebuilding, but we're talking about one of the better divisions in football.
All right, that's enough of that, Steve. It's come to my attention that only 40% of people watching this are actually subscribed. So hit the subscribe button. It helps the channel a ton, and we appreciate it hugely. Now back to Steve. It is, yeah. Look, the Steelers are a complete wild card in terms of they could be anywhere as opposed to a wild card football team, though they might be that as well. I was on a panel at Circa, and the question was asked, like, what is the range of outcomes effectively for Pittsburgh? And I think it's incredibly wide. Like, I think the range of possible outcomes for the Pittsburgh Steelers has to include Super Bowl. And that doesn't necessarily need Rodgers to play like MVP Aaron Rodgers. If the defense is number one defense in the NFL and Rodgers is serviceable at quarterback, that could be a Super Bowl caliber team. I also think the low end of it is everything spirals out of control. Rodgers and Tomlin butt heads. The whole thing explodes. People get fired. It's a disaster, right?
Every hit Rodgers takes, like last year,
Or, he just gets hurt and you have to play Mason Rudolph for the whole season. Like, whatever. The bottom range, I think, is pretty spectacular as well. And ultimately, that might shake out to the most likely thing happening, being they go 9-7 again. And it's the same as every other year under Mike Tomlin recently. But because you're like, they could be a Super Bowl caliber team, they could win the division. They could, and The Bengals, with that offense, could win any given game. But Baltimore, I think, is the most complete roster in this division and maybe in the NFL.
As we go along here, let us know in the chat who you think wins the AFC East and now AFC North. You're taking the Ravens. I'm also taking the Ravens. And remember, all along the way, you are a Browns fan, and you're like, hey, this is our year. I don't care what's happening. Joe Flacco's taking us to the AFC North title.
No. Shedeur Sanders will take us.
Right. So if you have your predictions, your bets, you email us. Check the mic at the33rdteam.com. You send us your email.
We're definitely getting an email in that's going to bet that Shedeur Sanders
Shedeur fans,
takes
bring it
the
in.
Browns.
Shedeur takes over by week 5.
To the championship game.
The Browns go, 10-2 over their last 12 games with Shedeur under center. They go to the AFC Championship. You just keep going. Go as far as you want. And you just say, look, I got a pound of coffee. We'll send it right to Check the Mic Studio. And if I'm right, if we're right about Shedeur going 10-2 down the stretch, we'll give you a hat and a shirt. We'll give you whatever from the merch store. We're going to give merch from the store. I think the bigger the more bold the bet, maybe you get like a hat. We'll say this is worth just a shirt, or maybe like a hat plus a shirt. That's what we'll do on Wednesday. We'll say how big the bet is, what we have to give up in merch based off how bold it is. Sound good?
Yeah.
Put up whatever you want. I mean, it doesn't have to be coffee, but, we drink a lot of coffee here. We'll have a coffee maker in here at some point. So we're both taking the Ravens in the AFC North.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing.
And the all-knowing algorithm is convinced you'll also like these videos, and who are we to argue?